Okay guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm back for another recipe this week, and today I am making a soup. Probably make a couple of soups going into the cold weather. I figure that's appropriate at this time. So what we're going to do here today is we are going to make a soup called, Italians call this, me growing up with this kind of thing, this is called Menestra. Okay, which is basically beans and greens. I might make it a little bit different today because originally this recipe calls for escarole. Okay, and apparently in upstate New York around this time of the year, because of the issues down in Florida with the freezing temperatures, it is absolutely impossible to get escarole right now. So we had to do the next best thing. Okay, escarole, as you guys know or maybe don't know, is a bitter green, basically. So I used to make Menestra with escarole and kale. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today. We have to unfortunately leave the escarole out, which is one of the original ingredients for this, but I do have a couple of really nice substitutes here. One back here, this big leafy lettuce back here, this is kale. I'm going to show you how I cut this up. And then down here in the front, we have some curly endive. Okay, it all cooks down the same. It's all kind of like a little bit, like if you took some of this right now and ate it, it would taste a little bit bitter. That's just the way this green is. So anyways, we're substituting this for the escarole. Okay, so we'll get running down on these ingredients like I do every single recipe that I make for you guys. All right, over here I got about, now these could change a little bit. Depends on when I get this all together in the pot and start cooking this down. Some of these could change. So I'm starting out with 4 cups of chicken stock. You can use chicken broth if you want to. If you're using chicken stock, you can add a little bit of water to it if it just tastes, you know, too potent, basically. Over here, maybe some people don't do this, but I do. I love the little bit of flavor at the end that this gives it. I got about 1 cup of just like diced up pepperoni. I'll show you how I cut it. I cut it in chunks. Okay, like that. Just little chunks, little tiny chunks. Okay, so I got about 1 cup there. I got some freshly grated Parmesan cheese over here. Over here, I got about 4 cloves of garlic that are sliced. I got some olive oil here. I got red pepper flakes over here. And then on this side, I got some Great Northern beans and I got some canalini beans. I personally like to mix these. I've done that for years that I've been making this recipe. It's just what I do. Now, I did drain both of these cans. This is a canned bean. Again, you can use beans that you can buy in a bag. You can soak them overnight and then cook them the next day until they're tender. But if you use a good quality bean, there's no problem with doing this. So I drained the can, but I left just a little bit of tiny liquid in the bottom of the can. All right, and I just do that just for a little bit of flavor. This is going to have a ton of flavor, believe it or not. And then I got some fresh cracked pepper and some fresh cracked salt. That is it for this recipe. Very simple, basic. Us Italians love this. We can eat this every single day. All right, I'm going to get on with this recipe. We're going to show you how I cut these greens up here, and we'll move forward with this recipe. If you guys like this recipe, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I'm really happy about the way this channel is working out. So hit that subscribe button if you guys like some of the stuff that I'm doing. Share the video if you'd like, and always put a thumbs up if you like what I do. Okay, I'm going to clear some of this out of here. We're going to get cutting some of these greens up. All right, so on to cutting up. This is kale and curly endive. This is gorgeous. I'm actually surprised I found it in this condition today, but we did, and I'm gonna show you how I do it. Very simple. This is a recipe that is a very rustic dish. After all, it is a soup. So I'm going to show you what I do here, okay? So this here, you want these pieces about, you know, so, and these are going to wilt down, you know, like these are this big right now, but these are going to wilt down. Now, I don't like to eat it and slurp my food. I don't know, I'm just not that kind of guy. So I like to, when I eat things with the spoon, I like to actually have it on the spoon. You know, I don't like it all over the place, okay? So this is all we're going to do. We're just going to take a stack of these, and this is it, just like this, okay? I do use the ends, these ends I do use. They become really, really tender, like these here. And again, it's a lot of this is a textual thing. That's why I add the pepperoni into it, and that's why I cut this the way I do. Okay, let's just let's get on with this. We'll show you how quick that this will actually go. Okay, so it's just very, very simple, right? Doesn't have to be perfect because, like I said, it's a very rustic meal. So just grab, cut, and go. That's all it is. Okay, so that's how we do that. Now the kale is, I don't know if you guys can see this now, it's starting to get a little clogged up here. The kale is done about the same way. Now you do have people that will take this and just cut the kale right off and not use the rib, just like this, okay, and just strip the rib off of it, okay, and you could save that for stock, soups, whatever, you know, whatever. And then you can just cut this basically the same way, okay? So that's how we do this. I'm going to finish cutting up the rest of this because I got a feeling it's going to get a little cluttered here for right now, but that's how we cut this up. Let me get going with the rest of these, and we'll show you the next step. Then we'll start building the soup. This is a super quick recipe, but hearty and very nice for cold weather. Okay. All right, so I'm all done cutting up the greens for this dish. And it looks like a lot, but trust me, once it gets into the pot, this is going to cook down. It's going to wilt. There's hardly going to make it look like there's anything in there. Okay, so now we're going to get on with the next step. I got some olive oil heating up in a Dutch oven pot. Behind me, we're going to add some red pepper flakes, and we're going to add some garlic, and then we're going to get this these greens in there, and we're going to start making the soup. Okay, I'll be right back with you guys in just 1 second. All right, so the olive oil is heated up. We're going to put our 4 cloves of sliced garlic in. Now I do start this off before the oil. The oil's hot, but it's not hot enough to you know, brown the garlic. You're not going to hear a lot of noise right now, right? Okay, because I like to watch this come up to temperature so I can get the garlic just right. Again, I don't like to, I think you guys hear me say it in almost every video I've done now, I don't like to actually brown my garlic because it gives off a little bit bitter of a taste, called Allison, actually. So I don't like to get it like that. Okay, but so what I'm doing right now is I'm just infusing this olive oil. I got about maybe, I don't know, 6-7 tablespoons in there, enough to cover the bottom of the pot, basically. And I'm going to throw my red pepper flakes in for a little bit of heat. It's about a half a teaspoon there. Another thing I forgot to say was the greens, make sure, and I mean really make sure, that you guys wash that and wash it thoroughly. How I do it is I just fill the sink up, I plug it, cold water, I shake everything around inside the sink, rinse it, drain it, and if you have to do it again, do it again. You'll see all the dirt that comes out of this stuff. It's actually very dirty. but that's the way you have to do it. So don't think that you can just buy it in the store and then turn around and, you know, cut it up and have at it, because you can't, because you're going to be eating dirt. You're going to be crunching dirt the whole meal. Nobody likes doing that, you know, especially when you're making an awesome meal like this. Now, another thing that I have to point out too is that my chicken stock and my chicken broth, depends on which one I use on a particular day for a particular soup, is no sodium. It's very, very low sodium. If I can get it with no salt in it, I will do so. So you're not going to see me season this until the end. Okay, I'm going to let all the flavors come together, the pepperoni come together, the hot pepper flakes come together, the beans and all that stuff. Then I'm going to season it at the end. Okay, so I'm going to let this go just for a second here. I'm going to infuse this oil, and then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to drop the greens in. Okay. Okay, so I infused this oil. I think it's good. It's been cooking for just a couple of minutes. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our greens now. There might be a little bit of water on this, so just be careful when you go to put it in the pot. You may get a little bit of splatter. You may not. Well, it depends on how dry it is. This is pretty dry. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to basically wilt this down. And you're going to see this is going to be a lot of greens, okay? But it'll, and you might have to do it in stages, right? Because you're going to have to stir it as well. And you'll see it'll take like 5 minutes for this to start wilting. You want to try to just stir it nice and easy. Get some of the olive oil up through all the greens. If there's a tricky part to it, this is it until this starts wilting. Once it starts wilting, you'll get it all in there. And this already is starting to smell good. It's already starting to wilt too. So you can see you'll get a little bit more in the pot, but just keep turning it like this. Mix it up. Get it nice and hot. I don't know if you could see it on camera, but that's all starting to wilt down already. Look at it. Remember how high it was? Yeah. All right, so we're just going to keep putting our greens in, just like that. Okay, so I'm going to stir this. We're going to get this wilting, and then I'll be back for the next step for you guys, which is we're going to add the chicken stock. We're going to let this cook down just a little bit more, get the greens all nice and tender, and then the soup is almost done. And we're going to add the beans, the pepperoni. We're going to flavor it up, and then we're going to plate it up. Okay, you guys hang in there. It's a quick soup, quick meal, so we're almost done. All right, so most of this is now cooked down. We're going to get ready now to look at. I just want to show you. See how much there isn't in there now? Right. Okay, so I'm going to say that was about a pound of mixed greens. Okay, so that's what you're going for. Now again, when escroll, when you can find escroll, I would use, the escroll. I've used escroll and kale, like I said in the beginning, but I had to revert to these greens today, which this is going to be just as delicious. All the greens are in the same exact family as escroll. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the chicken stock. We're going to cool that down a little bit. All right. I am going to add more chicken stock to that. Okay. And then we're going to add our beans, just like this, with some of that liquid. Like I said, not a lot of liquid, just a little bit, right? Okay, and we're going to add this one. Okay, just like that. And we're going to just give it a little, stir. And then we're going we're going to add some more chicken stock to this. So let me get some more chicken stock. I'll be right back. I am going to turn this on high. We're going to get this to a little bit of a boil, and then we're going to let this cook. And then when the greens, if you put some of the stems in, once they're like really tender, fork tender, the soup's done. It's really as simple as that. So I am going to add a little bit more chicken stock to this. So I'll be right back. Okay, so this has been cooking down for about 15-20 minutes, and this is now what it looks like. Okay, the greens are cooked down, the beans are nice. The only thing that I'm going to do now is I'm going to season it up at this point. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit of salt in, a little bit of fresh cracked pepper. Always got to have a little fresh cracked pepper in it. We'll stir this up a little bit, and then we're going to be on our last step. So if you're not putting pepperoni in this, you can go right ahead at this point and season how you want it to taste. Okay, I went a little light on the salt. Let's see how we did here. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Now we're gonna put in the cubed up pepperoni now at this point. But what we're not gonna do is we're not gonna boil this at this point, right? Because you don't want to. You just want to get a little bit. You don't want to. Basically, you just don't want to beat up the pepperoni. Okay, so we're just gonna let this just like this, a very, very slow simmer. We're just going to try to get some of that oil, that grease out of the pepperoni to flavor the rest of the meal. I'm going to let this go for 5 minutes, and then we're going to plate this up. Okay, guys, this soup is done. Okay, so this is the end result here. This is after we put the pepperoni in and we let it simmer for a little bit. Okay, so this here is what it looks like when it's completely done. All right, so we are going to plate it up a little bit here. I'm going to bring in a bowl, just like that. We're going to get ourselves a ladle. Oh my God, this looks so good. Okay. All right. All right, look at that. Oof. That is phenomenal. Okay. One of my best soups ever. Okay. All right, so look at this, right? This is how I make. Let me clean up my mess here before I start talking. I'm all excited, right? Because I finally made Menestra this year. Okay, so this is how we make. This is how I make it. It might be a little different from how you make it. If it is, leave a comment for me. Let me know what you think. If you make it like this, let me know what you think. But this is how I make it. So the only other thing now that we're going to do, and you guys that watch my channel know exactly what's coming. We got a plate, right? So we got the soup in. We got a little bit of fresh Parmesan cheese. This is what we do, just like this, right? Oh, Maron. Oh. All right, so we do that, and we do this. Right, look, hey, beautiful. Okay, that's it, guys. That's all there is to this, right? Very simple recipe to take you about a half hour, right? To do it, how I did it. Okay, so this is how I make my Menestra. This is how most Italians make it. Give or take an ingredient or two. If you guys like this recipe, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. It'd be great if you guys hit the subscribe button. That would be awesome too. And this is it. It's lunchtime for me. Everybody have a great day. I will see you in the next recipe next week.